Hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again for another video. Well guys, it's been so long. I have been on a break. And Mr. Anonymous is still on his break. I think the whole cell phone pinky filing thingam situation kind of took its toll on us and our way of doing things on the channel. So I think we were tired, even though we were afraid to admit it. We were exhausted. Okay, I was, and I needed to spend a little bit more time with family and friends and just take it easy a bit. I didn't plan it. It's not like I planned it or anything like that. I just wanted time out and to rest. But now we are back, although today I'm back solo and Mr. Anonymous will hopefully join us soon enough along the process. Hi guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to do the right thing. Like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and all of those things. And I have to admit, I have been extremely down a bit for a couple of weeks ever since the elections took place. I've been stressed out of my mind about this GNU situation because it's not exactly what we voted for. I don't think I had this outcome in mind. And I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of people thought that this is not what we voted for. But either way, they are choosing that this is the best way for us to move forward. We'll see how it unravels in the future. We'll see what it has in store for us. And two opposition parties who've been in opposition for more than 30 years now deciding to go into some form of unity. And although they are trying to say that it's not a coalition, but according to the definitions, it fits more of a coalition than it does what this government of national unity. But they are saying it's a government of national unity, so we'll just go on with what they're saying. So how about we carry on from where we left off? I know I myself have been struggling to see what we can talk about on the channel besides the Senzo Meyiwa trial. I mean, we like the trial and we want to see how it unfolds and we are super invested in it. So when it's not going on, it's like, what would you guys like to talk about? And that's when I begin to crack my skull because I don't know. And although on multiple occasions we've attempted to talk about politics on the channel, it just ends up being wonky wonky and it doesn't get the reception that I feel like you guys would enjoy or what. But let me know in the comment section what you feel about that. And we did contest when one person was like, you guys should stay away from politics, and we're like, but these things very much affect our lives. I mean, we've been consumed over the last couple of weeks, months with politics. They're all over in our face, more than they've ever been in the last 5 years. And we are pushed into corners where we cannot talk about the big elephant in the room. I mean, they affect our lives, how we live our lives in the country. Everything is pretty much political, but we promise to keep it entertaining. And it seems like after covering the trial, without it, there is nothing interesting to talk about. And politics have become very important in the last couple of months. We really try to stay away from them, but they're in our faces. It's not like we can avoid talking about them, and all the mean comments as well, and all kinds of things, and all kinds of weird people who don't want to accept things for what they are. It's very difficult. I remember even when we started with the trial, it wasn't so easy because some people believed what they want to believe and they don't want to move away from what they believe because they cannot admit the truth even though it's staring them in the face. I don't know how to describe it, but we have a couple of those people in our country who just lag behind a lot, and they like fighting instead of doing their research and finding out for themselves whether what they believe our wild accusations are true or not, And in reality, we know we never agree with the masses. We always scratch the surface, we always go deeper into things, and we discover things that people may not necessarily want to hear. And we all know in our country, people don't like hearing the truth. They are allergic. It's very tough when you come with a different perspective. It's hard. It's incredibly hard. And I know everyone has been asking, first on the topic, there was an issue where MK last week withdrew the case, and they were talking about how they are withdrawing the case of them accusing IEC and all the other people that were involved. I mean, we even saw the DA popping up and being on the side of the IEC and also filing their own application with this application that the MK has made against the IEC. It is very interesting. But then a lot of people last week were wanting to hear from the horse's mouth. And when I mean the horse's mouth, I mean, of course, the president of the MK party, none other than former President Jacob Zuma. People were wondering what is going on. Why are they withdrawing the case? Although we've heard some feedback from the spokesperson that they are going to go and add some of the things that they had not added on the previous application of the case. Well, President Jacob Zuma had a public appearance over the weekend that he made, and this is what he had to say.
Yep. Ngifuna ukuqalisa into encane nje bafowethu. Enye yezinto eyenza ukuthi sithi sisalohoxisa kancane icala. Ubufakazi esesibutholile bungangendlovu. Ngoba manje kufuneke konke lokho abameli bakubhale phansi. Kanti laba bese bethi aliphele khona manje. Ngoba bafisa ukuthi lawo maqiniso angaqhamuki. Ngiyagcwalisela la kusho khona ucomrade. Liyeza icala ayikho indawo lapho khona abangarobhanga khona. Siphethe ubufakazi manje. Hayi ukuthi uma silihoxisa sithi liphelile.
President Zuma says that MK party briefly withdrew the case because the rigging evidence that was discovered was huge and required time for the lawyers to document it. Others even wanted the case to be concluded quickly to prevent the truth from being exposed. He says that the case will be reopened, so they are going to polish up whatever needs polishing up and to add more of the evidence that they had withheld with their initial application. And I heard something about 20% of it coming from intelligence and 80% of it coming from the documents that the people that were working during the election time were recording. And we just hope that they can put it together as soon as possible so that we see what the future holds for the country, because I know a lot of people don't believe that IEC could do such, but who am I to judge? You guys tell me what you think about this, because it's very interesting. I remember the election time period. I remember the system being offline for 2 hours, and 2 hours is a long time in the middle of an election where a system can just go offline. But they're saying that was not the case. And then another thing, the videos that were popping up on social media, there was a lot of videos coming even from the people that were doing the counting of the votes that represented the different political parties, crying about the numbers that had been, not taken down correct. It was a whole thing. It was a whole mess. And I'm just wondering what the outcome will be once MK reapply. So for now, we're going to wait for them to reapply and reveal the evidence that they had not revealed in their initial application. And I'm hearing that the IEC is stopping the MK from withdrawing, or they want them to continue with the original case. It's all alleged, of course, But we will see the events as they unfold when it comes to this whole situation, because to me, I feel like I'm hanging. I want to know, I want to see the end of this. The end of this, I'm interested in. I'm invested in it as well. So another thing that happened that was very interesting today, Gayton McKenzie, who has been ushered into Parliament and Government of National Unity as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. Of course, we all know he wanted to be the Minister of Home Affairs or the Minister of Police. But they said, no, you will be more suited there in the sports, arts and culture, the entertainment side of things. And that's where they decided to deploy him. And he said that he wants to expose all the people, of which I believe it's mainly public figures and celebrities, who have been receiving funds from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, instructed all officials to release a comprehensive list of funding recipients from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. The list will include details on the beneficiaries, amounts allocated, and reasons for funding, marking a shift towards transparency and inclusivity in support distribution. Minister McKenzie emphasized the end of exclusivity in funding access, signifying a new era of equity and opportunity for all. This was a very nice announcement to wake up to in the morning. I was like, okay, it looks like something is happening. I was excited about it, I don't want to lie, because when it comes to the funds of sports, arts and culture, a lot of people I've been seeing, they've been complaining about how they would apply for funding and not receive the funding. Some people would say they would apply for funding and then they'd be told that their applications have failed. Some people did not receive feedback at all as to what had happened to the application. They didn't receive the funds at all. All of this main part of it took place during the 2020 pandemic. A lot of artists were making applications and they were rejected and they were not told why. Some were told to reapply over and over again. So a lot of people were complaining about it when it came to that. And for all we know, these people that were getting the funds were never broadcasted or made known to the public. You just become shocked when you find out that the sports, arts and culture is sponsoring so and so. And this comes via media when they're doing exclusives and exposés in their investigative work that so and so are being funded by the Department of Arts and Culture. And then it all becomes this big taboo. Although a lot of people have a problem with Mr. McKenzie making this announcement and saying that these people will be exposed, the list will be compiled, and transparency will be shown that these people are actually getting funding. Some people have a problem with that. They're saying we should remain a secret, but I don't know why, and I don't understand why either. I'm a part of the people that want to know everything, the details, want them to be exposed. Want them to know why. Want them to know who's getting the money and what have they done with the money, especially if it's coming from government. That transparency needs to be there. But then I heard another political analyst on this other broadcast house saying that it seems like it's a show. The politicians are already showing off and getting themselves up for the next election. They want to represent their parties well, and they're using their respective offices to do that. He said that's not how things work. When you're a minister, you can't just wake up in the morning and make an announcement. You have to talk to certain people before you can make such announcements. It has to be approved by the the caucus in the different departments. You can't just wake up and make an announcement and then it's a rule of law. That's not how it works, of which I kind of agree with that. In public office, you can't just be willy-nilly. I know we say they are ministers and they are in charge, but not necessarily. There's red tape that they have to go through before they can make such announcements. So is this a show? Is Mr. McKenzie not understanding how things work, or he is unbinding himself, or he's preventing himself from being captured in advance? I don't know, you guys. You tell me. Well, he tweeted this morning, and I quote, he said, "I've given an instruction that a list be published of all the artists, creatives, and sports people who have been receiving money from the Department of Arts and Culture be published, inclusive of amounts and reasons. The time where only a select connected few benefit is over." So the people have spoken, and social media is talking. It was a buzz. The media streets were abuzz with this announcement as soon as he had made it in the morning, and some people were even referring names, referring the names. Amagama abizwa, and it was very interesting. The main name that I saw a lot going throughout this list was Shimza. And they were like, Shimza and his tender face, as Musi Maimane said in a previous Twitter war that they had before the elections. I remember Shimza had tweeted something that ANC forever or something like that. And Musi Maimane went for him. He went for him, and they started having a Twitter war just before the elections, because it felt like he was marketing for this political party and maybe influencing his followers to go and choose that party instead of the party, or giving other parties a chance. I don't know what was happening, but Musi Maimane went in for the jugular, and he started dragging Shimza online. And we can also not forget that whole exclusive that was done by Checkpoint, where there was even a link to Somizi as well on the Checkpoint documentary, describing how the funding coming from the same departments of sports, arts, and culture was being used and only given to Shimza in Tembisa, and where his restaurant is located. There were also other small businesses, restaurants, food places that were happening there, and they were starting to really feel it, because Shimza is getting all this money, is getting all this funding from the government, and they're not even considered. They're not even given an opportunity to apply. Some had said that they actually applied and did not receive the funding. It was a whole thing back in 2020, and it was a big deal because these small businesses were literally being taken out of business. And here comes Shimza with his restaurant in the middle of Tembisa, and the funding that is coming from the government, specifically the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, and he's recruiting all these celebrities, and other business owners who were in the food business around the area had a problem with it. They even expressed their feelings on that exclusive that Checkpoint had done. And we also know about the previous SIU investigations that were tying particular names, Mafokate, Terepetu, Presley Chonyachai, Tula Cindy, and others. I mean, they could have benefited, and the investigations had shown from the SIU that they were getting the money from Lotto. But we don't know whether the Department of Arts and Culture had anything to do with that. And Arthur's name in particular, Mafokat's name, was popping up a lot. So I don't know what link he has specifically to the Department of Arts and Culture, and whether he's received funding from that department or not. And can we also talk about Natasha Tahani's 1 million rand bursary, because her name also popped up. Her name popped up because Once upon a year, I think it was 2020 or 2021, she went to McG's podcast in Chill, and she started talking about how she had received 1 million rands in a bursary form, money from a former Madam Speaker of Parliament, Baleka Mbete, who had signed over via the same Department of Arts and Culture and Sports for her to receive 1 million rands and go and finish her studies. Of course, she said she spent way more than 1 million rands, and she was saying that it was merely a balance and a handout, that they were helping her, but staying in the States is more expensive. 1 million rand alone was not gonna cut it. And we were like, but that 1 million rand could have funded a bit more people. I mean, it could have sponsored like 2 doctors, to get their full medical degrees in the country, or it could have sponsored even more graduates, and it just sponsored you, and you got it so easy. You didn't have to apply. All you had to do was tell Mam Baleka Mbete about your financial problems, and she just signed. And it doesn't work like that for many people. So your connections to them, it came in handy, and a lot of people had a problem with it, even myself included. I mean, she trended for that, and she even had to make a whole video where she was apologizing and stuff. So it was a thing. And for her to also spend that much money from the government studying overseas and then come back to be a baby mama to a soccer player, no offense, I'm just underwhelmed. I'm like, what was the reason? You could have just stayed in South Africa and just studied. I mean, what are we doing? Why are we gonna go get that American experience? And the reason why I'm in my feelings about it is because with America, it's where production mostly happens. The big blockbuster movies are coming from there. Production quality wise, it's coming from there. So when she came back, I was expecting that she will come back with that thing, of wanting to be behind the camera, being a producer or being a director, or all these skills that she was learning, finally using them and creating more jobs in the country, opening her own production company. But here she is acting with the very same influencer girls who didn't go and spend that much money in America. I'm just saying, I know a lot of people are gonna feel like I'm being too harsh, but it is what it is. I mean, she got a lot of money. I was expecting her to come back and be a boss, not be an actress and competing with the very same people that are desperate for these opportunities. She's an actress, of course, on Netflix series. Mainly she's featured in Netflix a lot now. Maybe that helped her going to study overseas, but still, you study, you come back to study. To some bed, you didn't need to spend that much money studying, and she's out there in America thriving. But it is what it is, okay? It's her life. What do I know? But yes, she also received monies from that department as well. And then another name that also popped up was Joyce Chauke, aka Mama Joy, and Bota. Okay, they went on a trip to be the #1 fan / supporters of games playing overseas. There was a time it was alleged that her trip, it costed the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture 1.3 million to go and watch the Rugby World Cup final in Spain. Yes, it happened right under our noses. It did actually. We don't know whether that amount is true or not, but the media is saying that is the amount, and it was a big hoo-ha, especially in the community, the Palm Folk community. That is the people of no color community. I mean, even Hose was calling it out at some point on his social media before we knew he was gonna be representing the DA in Parliament.
All right, so if you've been following the World Cup, you've arguably seen these two lovely South Africans flying the South African flag high. But did you know that these two individuals are paid for by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture? Did you know that they are considered superfans that the department allocates money to, which means it's your money as a taxpayer, and then they get flown there, their accommodation and their lodging and their food, and a little salary is given to them. They get tickets for free, specifically in areas where they know the cameras will focus on, and then they literally are prostitutes to promote South Africa. Did you know that? I mean, because I was today years old when I found this out. So if this is not news to you, I'm sorry. But these two individuals that you constantly see on your TV screen are actually there on your dime.
Well, he was talking about it sometime last year, and even went as far as to call Umama Joy the lady of the night, which I found very disrespectful. But he did point it out that these people are being funded. But also it was very problematic because it seemed like it was these folks that were coming for Mama Joy at the time. I got that vibe. I got that like they have a problem that Mama Joy is being sponsored to go watch games to become the #1 fan, and they actually did investigations on her. Is it because she is black? Now, what made me think about this way is because I saw another tweet from Gayton later on in the day that says, I have stopped all trips for superfans. We have athletes and artists who are struggling to raise money to attend sporting events and exhibitions. How do we justify paying for fans? We shall no longer be paying for these trips, and we'll use that money where it's needed the most. So it seems here literally spitting out Mama Joy. Because so far as we know, they are the only two people, Mama Joy and Botha, have had this superfans funding, unless if there are other people that we do not know about, but those are the ones that we are currently aware of that have spent exorbitant amounts of money being funded these trips that cost 1.3 million to go watch a game. And another thing, why are the funds so high? I know traveling abroad is expensive, but 1.3 million, something is not right. It's not balancing. My guess is that perhaps there are some people who were benefiting indirectly without their names being there, and Umama Joy's name and Botha was used perhaps to extort more funds from the department. I don't know, you guys, you tell me. But yes, it was a whole thing, and the Twitter people were calling out her name as well. Okay. I'm telling you guys, it was a whole ride. I went on that rabbit hole and I was like, oh my God. And the other people also that I saw were being mentioned were Sean Kize, aka Mam Kize. Well, I'm not sure if she's ever received any funding from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. However, seeing that Mama Joy became a super fan of South Africa as a whole, after she became a fan of Royal AM, one could question whether she got this gig with her affiliation to Umam Mkhize. And we all know that Sean Mkhize is a beneficiary of the ruling party, or the previous ruling party, because now they lost the majority. So she had parents who were in the struggle, and because of that, now she got connections and she got a lot of tenders, and today she's one would say a millionaire. She's living the millionaire life. She even bought a soccer team for her son. Life is good. Life is very, very good. And I found out on the internet that, in January 2020, she actually worked with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to choose a school to donate to. So they are saying she worked with the department I don't know whether they gave her the funding or they collaborated together and both of them gave funding. However it may be, but there's a link to her with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture as well. She chose a school to donate to, and she donated shoes and sanitary towels to Umlazi Comtech High School. So you guys, do you think that he should rather start on a new page and move on? Because I saw a lot of people saying that Gayton McKenzie, he's asking for trouble. He should rather focus on moving on and focusing on his portfolio. Not to really go after the ones who've chowed money before. Let them continue to chow that money in peace. It's only fair that he doesn't look into it and he moves on. I have an opinion on this, and I feel like it's not fair. Why am I saying that it's not fair to make such a request of him? Because what I've come to learn from public office and running in public office or being in public office, of course this knowledge I get it from other countries. What other officials do before they even resume public office or resume the responsibilities that they are given, they first run audits. An audit is like checking the financial health or the financial status of your department. The reason is because it's public office. Corruption is obviously going to take place. And you don't want for this corruption to have taken place and you were dumbfounded and you didn't know what was happening and you didn't know how much was in the pockets while you got into office. And then they're like, 60 million rand is gone. And you're like, but how? It just goes under your nose. Because guys, I know I'm laughing, ne? This is how I cope. This is how I cope with the stressfulness of having such things happening to us. This is my coping mechanism. I laugh a lot when I talk about these things, but they are very much serious. So, in my opinion, I feel like before you resume office, do the audit. Check what is happening to the funds, where they are going. You are not going after anybody. You just want to know. You just want to cover your back so that when more funds are poured in, somewhere, somehow, you need to do another audit. And once the funds have gone, you must do another audit. Because you don't want to be accused of being corrupt. You don't want to do that and you didn't even chow the money. So I feel like maybe it's a safety precaution. And maybe him saying that is because already there are auditors who are working, I guess. And they are telling him this money and this money went to who and who and who. And he just feels tempted. And he just wants to share those names. It's my opinion. I could be wrong. I mean, some people don't think that Gayton McKenzie is that smart and that he's capable of just resuming office and just running an audit. But there were corruption allegations against him while he was the mayor in Karoo. Karoo, I think it's in the Northern Cape. He had resumed office in the Karoo, and after he left office as the mayor, it was a very short time that he spent being a mayor there, and he was making all kinds of promises to the people in the Karoo, telling them he was going to build a bakery and they were never going to buy bread. Many promises that he was making, and then after a short while he left. And after he left, the media started saying that there are corruption allegations against him in that office while he was there. Apparently, allegedly, they're accusing him of having stolen funds. But it all went away. And obviously, now he's in the government of national unity. So I'm guessing that maybe his experience from being in the Karoo office has taught him that you don't just resume office. You don't just be excited you got a position. You must run that audit so that when things start to go down, you have proof to exonerate yourself, to say, but it's not me who stole the funds. I don't know what happened to the funds. Yes, I'm aware that the funds are no longer there, but I cannot tell you who took the funds, or so and so took the funds. Maybe that's what he's doing. It's a measure of precaution. And I'm sure everyone else is doing it. Consider that the DA was always accusing the ANC of corruption. I'm sure everybody's watching out for themselves. This is a government of national unity. And also, there are other things that took place. Perhaps he realized, you know what, these names need to be made public, you know. And another thing about the GNU is that everyone wants to represent their party well, and they want to be seen to be doing a great job. It's going to be happening for a while, which could be to the advantage of the public, in a way that maybe they will wanting to expose each other or what. We'll see how it unfolds, but already Gayton McKenzie wants his party to shine. Making this announcement, he knows that a lot of people will be excited about this news, and they were, you know. And also other people were also worried about his safety now, because we all know what happens to people who try to do the right thing in politics or in public office. It's either you attend unending court cases or you are simply taken out. So I won't sit here and say that should he do this or succeed in doing this, he's gonna be safe. I don't know. We don't know. So another side of my argument is that I'm kind of tired as well of politicians and them playing in our faces. For all we know, this might just be a show. It could end up with him also chowing the money in with his buddies in a couple of months' time. We don't know. We have no control over what he will do. But politicians have tendencies of coming and making brazen announcements, and then they go and do the very same thing that they were accusing other people of doing. I mean, after all, this system thrives on corruption. Without corruption, things wouldn't go the way that they're currently going and where they are headed. So if you're not corrupt, the system, unfortunately, it spits you out. That's how it is. So, yeah, and we all know that the DA has been in opposition with the ANC for 30 years now. And now they are in a government of national unity. We can all but wonder if they are going to fulfill all the things that they were promising while the ANC was in charge. You know, or are they going to just be engulfed by the ways of the ANC? Because when you look at it, they were arguing against blue lights and stuff, that, you know, cabinet should reduce, but cabinet has increased. They were talking about how the blue lights must be taken away. Now that the part of their people are now ministers, are they going to agree for the blue lights to be taken away? Or are they eventually going to be engulfed in the ways of doing things that the ANC has done for 30 years? Because John Steenhuisen not so long ago was talking about a road that had not been fixed by the government of the ANC and was promising that the DA would fix it. That's how he was electioneering and campaigning just before the elections. So now it's about to get very interesting to see if that road will eventually get fixed, even though I don't know if he'll be able to do that as a Minister of Agriculture.
We're here in KwaZulu-Natal in Umkomaas, where this road washed away over 2 years ago, and as nothing has been done to repair this critical infrastructure, which this road is the lifeblood into this village. It brings in tourists, it assists businesses, and also allows people to bring their goods and services in and out of the town.
How's it, John Steenhuisen, Gavin Walsh here. Quick one, mate. I know, I don't put pressure on you or anything, but I'm here in Umkomaas. I saw you took a video recently, just before the elections, to showcase how bad the road was. It's been like this for 2 years, and how badly it's affecting the tourism in this area. You can actually see last night there was an accident here. The bollards had been pushed into the hole. Luckily they were there, or the vehicle might have gone in the hole. So no pressure, mate. But I know you're in the old GNU now. I wonder if you can pull a string there, my boy, and see if you can Make a plan, yeah, and get the whole fix, bro. No pressure, in your time. But yeah, thanks, mate. Bye.
We can enjoy and talk about what is going on in the country without getting chest pains and heartaches and all of that. On the lighter side of things, I believe, because they are important eventually to talk about. And from me and the Mzansi Reality team, I hopefully get to see you again tomorrow and we continue the rest of these conversations. Okay, guys. So for me, it's a bye for now. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And tell your friends to come and join us. Okay, I am back. It's officially back. Mzansi Reality, we are back and we'll be continuing to bring you some more interesting content. So for me, it's a bye for now.